Do you know, by the way, how many soccer fields or football fields are being destroyed every minute? You know that? 36. So by the end of my 20-minute presentation, we will have destroyed in the world 720 football fields. Obviously, we're doing something about it, but there's a problem. I don't want to be depressing. I want to give you the good news because we think that the crowd can do something about it. So we've been asked to be disruptive, and this is what we do as a living. I'm going to introduce you a new currency, which you probably never heard of or never thought it was a currency, but that we've been using with companies, with individuals, with consumers to do something good. And that new currency is, can anybody guess? A tree. Trees are the new currency. They're a currency to engage consumers. They're a currency that brands can use to engage consumers, which is quite disruptive. And so, well, obviously, probably everybody in this room loves trees for different reasons. Not everybody knows them well, but everybody's got memories with trees and has trees in the garden. Or also, something I will show you today is that trees have a role to play. We are, I think, 39 days away from COP21 in Paris, the very important milestone for climate negotiations. And what we're saying is trees are, if not the solution, they are a big part of the solution. Very recently, an Oxford study has declared the trees as the best technology to halt global warming. That's coming from Oxford, and you guys are all in technology, so remember this. Trees are the best technology for this. And so you will see and you will hear that every day in the press that we have no time left. COP21, everybody's talking about it for a good reason. There is no time left. We have to act now. And you here, as consumers, as citizens, as entrepreneurs, have a role to play. And this is what I want to share with you. So there's going to be a 2-minute Stephen Fry video, which I hope you will enjoy. I don't know if we can play it. It's in English and subtitled.
Poverty, sustainable food production, fresh water scarcity, climate change. These are major challenges facing our species today. Our forests can play a key role in solving these problems, yet when we need them most, the forests of the world are falling. Deforestation has accelerated. 50% of our rainforests were lost in the last 60 years alone. Deforestation drives climate change, degrading land, choking rivers, and polluting the atmosphere. Forests stabilize the climate and cool the air. They prevent erosion and regulate the water cycle. They generate moisture, chemicals, and microorganisms that actually create clouds. In Southeast Asia, reforestation was used to create a 5,000-acre orangutan reserve. 50% of the people were jobless. The land was a biological desert. Combining agriculture and forestry, a replicable system was created. It was designed to yield early food and income for the local people, reduce growing expenditures, and speed up ecosystem regeneration. 3 years later, the results were in. Cloud cover up 11.5%, rainfall up 25%, 3,000 people now making a sustainable income. Reforestation makes a difference. 1 acre of permaculture-designed food forest can sustainably support 10 people. Wheat, less than 5. And oil, water, and pesticides are used in wheat production. There are 39 million square kilometers of degraded farmland in the world today. Reforesting just over half using permaculture techniques would create an additional 2% cloud cover over our precious planet Earth. Currently, global warming is adding 1.6 watts of heat per square meter of land. If that square meter is covered by a cloud, up to 80 watts of the sun's energy is reflected back into space. A 2% increase in cloud cover could halt global warming in its tracks, long enough to develop technologies needed for a sustainable future for us all. Join us and be part of making it happen. WeForest.com, or hashtag us on Twitter with #WeForest.
It's actually now weforest.org, which doesn't make much of a difference. So you've seen what we can do with trees, and I'm now going to explain how we can use it as a currency. So we have WeForest with already 140 companies, roughly, engage the brands to distribute trees to their consumers. So when we say crowdsourcing or crowdfunding, it's the brands that we work with who buy trees, who plant trees with us if you want, and they distribute that to their customers. They distribute that to their employees. You see, they use that to drive sales and to attract new customers. They try to get people to repeat purchase. They offer this way a competitive advantage because obviously they have a strong message around the environment, around all the other messages that we show on the video. The water cycle, so water companies can use trees to promote their water. Companies that are polluting a lot, they can use trees to offset their pollution. So there's many ways for any type of company to use trees. And then we have started measuring with the brands that use trees to communicate and engage their customers. And the CEO of one of the big brands we work with told me last week that a product that they have, which plants trees, has grown 25%. So this is quite amazing. Just because they're creating a big buzz on internet with that, on Facebook, they get all kind of messages, they get all kind of likes, which with the old obsolete product, if you want, that they're selling, would be really impossible otherwise. So that's what's available here. I'm going to give you a few examples of what companies do. For example, here's a company that has a product, a rotary dryer. I don't know if you have that in your garden, in order to not use the electric dryer, but this is better for your clothes and this is better for the environment. Well, they plant a tree for every rotary dryer sold in the world, which is going very well. Then you can do buy two, get one tree, instead of buy two, get one free, which avoids margin erosion when you sell your product. And then you have a nice story that you can tell your customers. There is, I don't know, we all get asked to watch videos so often, but who watches the video till the end? None of us, right? We look at it a little bit and then we quit. Well, that's not good for the brands. The brands want you to look at the video until the end because they've got a message for you. And so this French NGO, Good Deed, has developed a tool where if you watch a video till the end, they reward you. So then you can choose. You watch a video, for example, from BNP Paribas saying how great a bank they are. Well, if you watch it to the end, you get a choice. Either you plant a tree with WeForest, you fund a vaccine with the OMS, or UNICEF, and you pay for a lunch with another organization. So that's pretty cool, I think. That's innovation as well. That's being disruptive. And it's free for the consumer, and the brand obviously wins because you watch the video. I don't know if you've seen this before. This is pretty big. This is a new, or not new actually, they've been around in Germany, a search engine. Instead of going to Google, not that I have anything against Google, but if you use this search engine, you plant trees. Every 5 times you click or you search, you plant a tree. So I was there actually yesterday. They're based in Berlin. They've already planted over, I think, 3 million trees. And we have calculated that if 5% of our searches on internet are done with this kind of thing, with them or others that would plant trees, they are today the only ones, we could stop global warming in a few years. That wouldn't cost us anything. They give us 80% of their income for trees. 80%. Some companies are very proud to give 1%. They give 80%. Okay? That's disruptive. So if you want to do something now, if you want to search something, go to Ecosia. Really, it's just amazing. And so we have also thought, well, the brands who buy trees with us and distribute that to their customers, how do we make sure it gets really to the customer? Because how many customers go to the website and check, are they really planting the trees? Where are the trees planted? And what difference does that make? So we have developed actually a tree app where the trees can be distributed through a QR code or through an email to the consumers. And the consumer goes online and then has a choice and say, you know, Mr. Consumer, you've just gotten a tree because you bought this Rotary dryer. Do you want the tree to be planted in Africa or in India? And then you have the choice and you read what impact it does in India and what impact it does in Africa. So choice is engagement. This is why it's important to reach out to the consumer. So technology again. And this is actually showing pretty good results for those brands. We see that, for example, 1/5 of the customers are actually really looking at the application, and 89% then choose the tree or the project, and then 50% of them go back to the website and check the company. So that is quite powerful. So the statistics are really, really showing that people like to be engaged around the tree message and the doing good for the climate. So we talked a lot about climate, but there's much more in tree. I'm sure you know that. Trees create jobs in countries that need them. And we need the trees actually in the tropics, and this is where we create the jobs. We make sure that we empower women, because this is a typical job for women to work in the nurseries, to plant and take care of the trees. And you know that in most countries, and you know that because you're in Kenya, that if you empower women, then this is how you get out of poverty, that the kids go to school, because all the money that you give to a woman goes to the kids and goes to Medicare. That's the only way. So you can do that. Don't throw development aid at those countries. Give them jobs. Help them restore the planet and restore the climate. That's what we do. And we know we can do it. This is before, this is after. In Burkina Faso, that tree is 8 years old. It is possible, and we measure that every day. We have today planted 10 million trees, which is actually just a drop on hot sand, because it's not about us planting trees, it's about the whole world starting to plant trees. The question is, how many trees do we need to halt global warming? Well, here are the numbers. In the video from Stephen Fry, you have some numbers, but that's a little outdated. This is scientific research coming from the New York Declaration with Ban Ki-moon in September last year, if you remember. With Leonardo DiCaprio, they made the New York Declaration for trees, and they were saying, this is what we need. What do we need? We need 527 million hectares to be restored and protected in the world in order to stay under the 2 degrees temperature increase that everybody's talking about. How much is that? I mean, it's quite a big number, right? Well, it is actually 60% of the surface of Brazil. That's the surface we need to restore. And actually, we translated that surface into number of trees, and roughly it is 263 billion trees. 263 billion trees that is needed if we want to halt global warming. So it's possible. So that makes 37 trees for each of you, for everybody on the planet. We've calculated actually that if for every Coca-Cola, and not that I'm promoting Coca-Cola, but just as an example, you will all know, we planted a tree for every serve of Coca-Cola sold, it will take us 3 years to halt global warming. So if everything we do everything we buy plants trees. It's a no-brainer, we get there. So this is the positive news of the day. And remember that when you hear all that gloom around COP21, there is a solution. So what you can do, you're probably thinking, I want to do something. Well, you can already use a good search engine that plants trees. You can also, when you want to give somebody a present, give them trees, a real tree, or go to an NGO that plants trees and make a gift. That has a lot of value for future generations. If you're a startup, if you're an entrepreneur, if you work for a company, think about it. How can you use trees to do good in your company, for your CSR, for your marketing? And then there's other schemes like 1% for the planet. That's also very powerful. So that I like very much. This is a statement from one of my favorite politicians, actually, and I think this is quite, it's quite powerful. And he here is very young, actually, with Wangari Maathai. So we can still do something about it. And another thing you can do is, if you want to go to our website, weforest.org, and I can give you a card later as well, you can also sign our manifesto, which is asking the politician during COP21 in 39 days to put trees back where they belong, to put trees back in the center of the negotiation. Thank you very much.
Great.